front, you've been extremely active. You've been an active advocate for freeing Hindu temples from government administration or government control. Now, why is it important for Hindu temples to be autonomous? A. B. Why is this restricted to South India as opposed to the entirety of India? It's different here, the magnitude of it at least. And have we achieved enough? If not, what can we do about this?
See, you know that for more than a decade, I've been involved in sort of building this case for liberating temples from the state control. Now, the very fact that the temples came into the state control has a historical bearing, and this is a European problem in the sense British started taking the control of the temple since 1820s, with the Jagannatha temple being part of it, and there are plethora of court cases that have happened later, and any number of legislation and temple, and any number of people have been fighting. The question would be, why should one want to liberate temples from the state control? First, there are any number of answers that one could give, from very simple answers to very deeper level thinking that has to be done. Now, what business state has with the religious affair? Now, though I don't see Hinduism as religion, etc., but technically in India, if we have to talk about in the legal language, it is part of the religious freedom. Now, therefore, people had to choose and decide what they wanted to do. See, if you look at any religious matter, how churches have to be run in the United States, for example, state has nothing to say with that. Now, you can't deal with it and then dictate terms, because what happens the moment the temple goes to the state control? The moment temple goes to the state control, there will be an administrative officer, a bureaucrat. He will start dictating what should be done, what should not be done. The moment it gets annexed with the state legislation, now you will have list. Now, what kind of puja you do? Now you have a laundry list of things that are Kukumarchane to whatever you wanted to cut a chicken in the temple, everything is there. In that list, you can't do anything more, anything less. See, look, our temples are not run like that. Our temples, we modify our temples, both structurally, even in terms of what kind of puja activities that we have to do. We communities, we decide, we create new kind of events there. And temple is not just about puja place. All our Nyaya Panchayati happens inside the temple, except for these town temples. I mean, village temples, even today, most of the dispute settlement, conflict resolution, cohesion of village activities, village development activities. For all range of activities, temple becomes the center. Not alone that, our children education, the way they learn to deal with people, is tremendously improved, because children start participating in the interactions of the temple, not just in the ritual. For instance, the way they connect to multiple individual adults in the society. They start recognizing differences in gender. The way they learn on what to do when they meet an elder, what kind of language should be used. It becomes a common kind of a pathshala. The temple is extraordinarily central, and you learn traditional, for instance, you participate in bhajan, your various singing, your various kinds of activity. You participate in sports as part of the temple activity. Sport is an integral part of the temple around, and there is this drama, there is singing. It's multifarious activity. And then one IAS officer and KS officer coming there and sitting there, he will dictating the turn. He will put about 6 o'clock you open, 10 o'clock you close. Okay, this floor, they will do all that arrangement. I decide tomorrow what to do in our temple. When to do Kalyanotsava, when to do betterment. We will decide all these kind of activities. So we don't want state to come, number one. Second, now it is very important, because state has other hundreds of things to do today.
Yes.
Okay, you have to give education, you have to give health, you have so many other obligations that you have to do it. Please let state go and build roads, build good colleges, let them bring in education reforms, let them ensure that every single individual born in this country, goes to school, for instance. Let's make this as why should they waste to keep pujaris here? Third, see, look, in the temple, you swindle all the revenue from this temple. Okay. And then how much you give back to the temple? Look at our temples. In our village, our temples, they're not part of the Muzrai department, endowment department. Everything that comes to temple goes back to temple.
Right.
And if there is shortage, we put money and we make sure the temple is flourishing properly. Flourishing not in the sense of grandness, but in terms of what has to be done in terms of maintaining the temple.
Yes.
Now you take all that, so get extraordinary revenue and pay this Archaka 2,000 rupees, 3,000 rupees. He can't even buy flowers in that monthly salary that is being paid to them. Right? And second, you take all the temple revenue and do what? It's only now. I have been arguing, you must have seen my earlier videos and talks where I have been saying, I have even shown with the RTI data how much money from the Hindu Temple Endowment Board has been diverted to other religious development.
Right.
Now that sort of pinches a lot of people. Why don't you, when your temples are really suffering here, the temples within the endowment board themselves are in need of money. They need Jeeronodhar of the temple. They need a lot of cleaning activity. They need the proper toilets to be built. They need dustbin to be arranged. All these things involve some kind of investment that has to be done by the government. Because it is government, we can't do anything there. It is government which has to, I can't take a dustbin and keep inside the temple. They will object. Right? And they will not bring it. How do we maintain? So it basically creates all the conditions in which a temple can flourish.
Right.
So therefore, it has to come. But one of the important points is there is a history of taking over this temple. There are all kinds of ownership that were involved in the temple. That's why one of my suggestions earlier was, 10 years back was, that the temples which had revenue less than 20 lakhs, now I would say revenue less than 50 lakhs, give back all those temples to the community. Then you have to do it in phase-wise manner. You can't immediately in one legislation, you cannot do. And there are temples like, Chamundi temple, Nanjangud temple, etc. There, you have to think about who would take care of this temple. How would you create an administration, management, etc. There has to be some accountability mechanism that has to be built within the public. That might take another decade time to sort of slowly shift from the state control to the temple. Those temples are very few. But the large majority of the temple, there is a Huchamma temple, Alasmardamma temple, there is this Mallikarjuna temple. Why do you want to keep that? Yes. Give it back to the people, no? Let them do whatever they want to do. Let them suffer, whatever want to do, but they have privilege. They can decide what they wanted to do in the temple. How to, because now you have just stopped them. In fact, one of the most important learning center, one of the most important socially crucial center, you have been debarred, even though it was my temple. I have nothing to say today. I have to go and stand in front of the IAS or KS officer. Sir, can you please help me? But who is he? Why should he come and dictate me? It's our temple. This is our tradition. We should have absolute freedom in what we wanted to do with it. Of course, we are not going to sell the temple. Nobody is going to do that. Yes. We are going to maintain the temple. It's very important for us to have the temple in our control because it is these communities. It is not one group of people. It is not Vishwa Hindu Parishad or something which is going to decide. It is these villagers, small temples. These are the people who are going to do it, and it has to come back.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.